This was classified as a maximum security penitentiary.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 creepy abandoned prisons.
You look around now, there's peeling paint and graffiti everywhere.
The idea was one warden could watch all the prisoners. The only way out was if he turned the rotary jail so your cell door spun to the exit.
They called this place one of the worst prisons in the continental U.S. And just looking at it from walking in, I can see why.
For this list, we're looking at the creepiest prisons that are no longer housing inmates. However, they can be active as tourist destinations. Have you ever explored an abandoned prison? Let us know in the comments below. Number 10, Garcia Moreno Prison, Quito, Ecuador. With most abandoned prisons, all artifacts have been removed, leaving behind a dusty, decrepit shell of a once active place. But with Garcia Moreno, it's like the inmates just walked out one day and never returned. Located in the San Roque neighborhood of Ecuador, Garcia Moreno was built in the 1870s and closed in 2014 due to overcrowding. It housed numerous murderers, including serial killer Juan Fernando Hermosa. Today, it looks much as it did with inmates, complete with old magazines, a Kung Fu Panda drawing, pinup girls, watches, shoes, and even a guitar. If you want strong Chernobyl vibes, then Garcia Moreno is your place. Number 9, J Ward, Victoria, Australia.
Criminally insane means a prisoner who has become mentally ill whilst in the prison system.
With Australia's J Ward, people get two for the price of one, those two being a prison and an insane asylum. Originally called the Ararat County Jail, J Ward opened in 1861 and held just 21 prisoners. 3 executions took place in the prison, those of killers Andrew Veer, Henry Morgan, and Robert Francis Burns, who's believed to have killed 8 people. The prison was converted in 1887 into part of the Ararat Lunatic Asylum. It ran as such until 1991. The building is now open for tours, and people report hearing shrieks and footsteps in its otherwise silent halls.
2 spirits have been identified in the old kitchen at J Ward. One's a German cook, and one's a little boy about 12 years old. They think his name is Stuart.
Visitors can also gaze at the prisoner's artwork that still adorns the walls. Number 8, Pottawatomie County Jail, Council Bluffs, Iowa. Located in Council Bluffs, Iowa, this is a rather unique jail. Most commonly known as Squirrel Cage Jail, Pottawatomie is the most famous example of a rotary-style prison.
The idea was one warden could watch all the prisoners. The only way out was if he turned the rotary jail so your cell door spun to the exit.
Up to 18 rotaries were built in the Midwestern United States, and most opened in a very narrow window in the late 19th century. Instead of traditional cell wings, rotary jails contain a spinning platform that allows only one cell to be accessed at a time.
There's a hand crank on each floor, and the jailer could turn that hand crank. There was only one way in and one way out of each floor.
Wow.
That way you could only let one inmate in and out, so one unarmed jailer could manage all 60 guys with no issues.
However, this design proved incredibly dangerous, as many inmates lost limbs in the spinning contraption. Pottawatomie was built in 1885 and closed as a jail in 1969. In 1972, it was made part of the National Register of Historic Places.
And for the time, this was a state-of-the-art establishment, and then you start thinking about all the amenities that they have now, and you can see how far we've come, not only as Council Bluffs, but the whole United States in general.
Number 7, Old Essex County Jail, Newark, New Jersey. Originally built in the 1830s, New Jersey's Old Essex County Jail is another member of the National Register of Historic Places. This is mainly due to its architectural history. Because the structure was added to throughout the preceding century, the Old Essex represents the evolution of prison design in America. But despite being a part of the register, the prison is in ruins. It certainly makes for a creepy visit should you decide to brave the overgrowth and decay.
You look around now, there's peeling paint and graffiti everywhere.
Many of the oldest buildings have collapsed into rubble, and parts of the jail were destroyed in a fire. Urban exploring doesn't get scarier than this, or more dangerous.
In a startling find, just lying on the floor, prisoner records.
Crime, larceny of a motor vehicle, 12 months. Sentenced October 1949.
Number 6, Cenop Fortress, Cenop, Turkey. As Old Essex County Jail is, it's nothing compared to Turkey's Cenop Fortress. Located on the very northern tip of Turkey on the coast of the Black Sea, Cenop Fortress is dated to the 7th century BC. Located within the inner fortress of the castle is Cenop Fortress Prison. Erected in 1887 and abandoned in 1997, it housed many dangerous inmates owing to its reputation as an inescapable maximum security prison. Being built in a castle will do that. The prison was also notable for its incredibly damp conditions, and it's said that prisoners couldn't even light matches owing to the moisture in the air. The old prison is currently open for tours should you be brave enough to venture inside. Number 5. Atlanta Prison Farm, Atlanta, Georgia. Much like old Essex, the Atlanta Prison Farm is now totally in ruin. The concept of this prison was that low-risk convicts could work off their sentences through manual labor, typically construction and agricultural work. The prison shuttered in 1995, however, and suffered a devastating fire in 2009 that destroyed most of the building. It became a location for vagrancy, urban exploring, intricate graffiti, and illegal dumping. However, the county is quite serious about its security and has installed fences, cameras, and motion detectors to deter explorers. Those who breach the property risk significant trespassing fines. Number 4. West Virginia Penitentiary, Moundsville, West Virginia. Easily one of the most gorgeous prisons in the United States, West Virginia Penitentiary is a massive Gothic-style prison located in Moundsville. It's built much in the style of a castle, complete with large battlements and turrets. The prison opened in 1876 and operated until 1995.
And when it closed down, it was still the home for about 650 of the state's worst inmates. This was classified as a maximum security penitentiary.
Aside from its Gothic architecture, the prison is also notable for its 94 executions and for housing an antique electric chair named Old Sparky. The prison is open for tours and has become a hotspot of supernatural sightings. It's considered a gold mine for paranormal investigators and is thought to be one of the most haunted buildings in America.
They called this place one of the worst prisons in the continental U.S. And just looking at it from walking in, I can see why.
Number 3. Goli Otok, Primorje-Gorski Kotar County, Croatia. Located off the coast of Croatia in the midst of the Adriatic Sea lies a very unique prison by the name of Goli Otok. Goli Otok means barren island in Croatian, and the name derives from the site's lack of vegetation owing to the strong Bora winds. Known as Croatian Alcatraz, Goli Otok once served as a top-secret political prison and brutal labor camp, housing Russian prisoners of war and Stalinists.
Logor je zamišljen kao mjesto političkog preodgoja i drugarskog političkog uvjeravanja u ispravnost politike KPU, nakon čega bi bivši inforbirovci bili ponovno uključeni u društveni i politički život zemlje.
The prison was run by the inmates, resulting in a brutal hierarchical system that often involved beatings.
Ko je došao sa Golog otoka kao i beovac na slobodi, zapravo onda je tek počela njegova muka. Nije mogao dobiti dobro zaposlenje, njegova familija je bila već disfamirana, vjerovatno isterana iz stana.
It was finally shuttered in 1988 and is now completely abandoned. The prison's distinctive location and violent history help make it one of the creepiest in the world. Number 2. Bodman Jail, Bodmin, Cornwall. This decrepit prison lies inside of Cornwall's Bodmin Moor. It opened in 1779 and garnered instant recognition for housing its convicts in individual cells, a first in British history. The prison played host to roughly 50 public hangings in its lifetime and operated for a century and a half before closing for good in 1927.
There were 55 executions here, and they were a great public attraction. In April 1840, more than 20,000 people came to see the hanging of William and James Lightfoot.
Only parts of the prison remain open to the public, as much of the complex has fallen into a state of disrepair. The site is well known for its supposed paranormal activity and remains a popular destination for paranormal researchers and investigators.
This building was once dark, damp, rat-infested, full of misery, pain and death. And it's said that many of the souls that died here still remain.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are some honorable mentions. Palazzo d'Avalos, Procida, Italy. A creepy but beautiful prison on the Terra Murata cliffs. Her Majesty's Prison, Pentridge, Victoria, Australia, a castle-style prison in Australia housing numerous grave sites. Eastern State Penitentiary, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. A massive prison in Philadelphia, world famous for its ghosts.
Today, this massive structure stands as a terrifying monument to one of man's first attempts at the humane punishment of criminals.
Old Charleston Jail, Charleston, South Carolina. This old prison in South Carolina was opened in 1802. Wyoming Territorial Penitentiary, Laramie, Wyoming. Built in 1872, Wyoming Territorial is among the oldest buildings in the state.
There are 42 cells in this cell block, 21 on each side. And there are many times when there would have been 2 prisoners in each one of these cells. Very, very tight quarters.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Alcatraz, San Francisco, California. Perhaps the most famous prison in the entire world, Alcatraz did not mess around.
12 barren acres in the middle of San Francisco Bay. In 1934, it seemed a perfect place for an escape-proof prison for America's worst criminals.
Nicknamed The Rock for its unique position, Alcatraz was built on a small island just off the coast of San Francisco and served as a maximum security prison. It housed the likes of Al Capone, Machine Gun Kelly, Whitey Bulger, and Frank Morris, who famously spearheaded the iconic 1962 escape.
They crawled out of their cells up on the roof and escaped into the San Francisco Bay, and that you got to give it to them. They broke the system.
The prison lasted less than 30 years, opening in 1934 and closing in 1963. Despite being regularly maintained, Alcatraz is incredibly creepy. The prison's dark and violent past, isolated location, imposing structure, and notable prisoners lend it an unsettling air, and the prison has a notable reputation for being haunted.
Both guards and inmates reported feeling sudden cold spots. Some even claimed to see apparitions.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.